And now, the Commander-in-Chief is back. Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups, the Oval Office of Gulf Coast Talk Radio.
All right, welcome back, America. My guest this afternoon, Brandon Big Gallups. And Brandon, so the next thing we're going to talk about real quick, I want to turn you loose on this because you've got some scoop on this. So we've got a mess going on between Iran and Israel and Obama and the accusation that Palestinian leader Arafat was murdered, was targeted, was assassinated by Israel. I mean, how does all this tie together?
Well, that's true. Some very, in my opinion, just some kind of strange things going on in the Middle East. And I think it's stuff that we need to keep our eye on. Now, like you said before the break, ppsimmons is constantly, pointing people towards these events, specifically right now going on in the Middle East, and how that plays out into biblical prophecy and end times and this alignment of nations and these nations seemingly aligning against Israel. But just this last week, and then today in particular, it's been all kind of headlines all over the place. We see John Kerry over trying to negotiate this deal to where we will loosen our sanctions, our financial sanctions against Iran in exchange for them scaling back or doing away with their nuclear program. But here's the kicker, and this is a quote out of Yahoo News. And they're calling this, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been very outspoken against this deal, by actually saying that if we cut this deal, that we would in fact be giving Iran, quote, the deal of the century. And here's why. Because let me explain to you what this deal would do. We loosen our sanctions, our financial sanctions against Iran, or even do away with them completely. And here's what we're asking them to do. For a partial suspension of their uranium enrichment for nuclear fuel, as well as, and this is the kicker for me, a pledge not to expand the program.
Oh, yeah, just
and
promises.
I guess we're going to expect a pledge from the Iranians because they have been so forthcoming and so outright and open and honest over the years about their intentions with their nuclear program.
Yes, just raise your right hand and swear to us that you'll do it.
Absolutely. And let me remind folks, just back during September, you saw a lot of headlines during the fake government shutdown that when the government was not, in fact, shut down, that were headlines such as this: Obama will negotiate with Iran, but won't negotiate with Republicans.
Right.
You remember some of that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do.
So this isn't the first time that we kind of, see ourselves headed to the feet of the Iranians here, so to speak. But let me just kind of clue people in a little bit on what happens with these financial sanctions that we try to keep in place against Iran. Basically, what happens is the United States over the years tries to seize Iranian funds and keep them from going towards this nuclear program. Well, basically, the Iranians try to stay ahead of the game. They set up dummy corporations, cut out corporations to filter this money through. We try to keep up with that, shut them down, blah, blah, blah. It's a vicious, endless cycle. So in the 6 weeks prior to the Iranian elections in June, our Treasury Department issued I'm sorry, I just lost my place here completely. Okay, over 100 we issued over 100 citations against these companies and shut them down, sanctions against these companies and shut them down.
Right.
Since those elections in June, there have only been 7 of these notices or designations given.
Wow.
So basically this is leading people to speculate that we've already stopped this sanctioning process,
right,
that Obama's already stopped this process.
Right.
We're basically letting the Iranians do what they want to. Then we see the Palestinian leaders come out this week and basically say that they suspect that Israel assassinated Yasser Arafat.
Right.
That they poisoned him is what we see. There's also rumors that there's going to be more call, and we saw this happen in 2011 when Obama outright called for Israel to go back to its 1967 borders, giving up Jerusalem, giving up the Golan Heights. Folks, every bit of this stuff plays right into the Bible, right into the book of Revelation, and we're watching this unfold in front of our eyes, and people just sit back again idle, like I say, waiting for the next football game to come on. Oh, that doesn't concern me. It's on the other side of the world.
Right.
It concerns you. Trust me.
It does, yeah. And and I've been saying for the longest, and of course you've heard me say it personally, that we are living in very prophetic and biblical times. And sometimes we say that people think, that we're crying the sky is falling and we're setting dates. Well, I'm not. First of all, if you're under the blood of Jesus, the sky is not falling. You're on the winning side, right?
That's right. In the end game, we win.
That's right. We win. We win. But in the meantime, we've been called to be watchmen. We've been called to be able to interpret the signs of the times in which we live. We're just trying to wake folks up, just trying to get them to see the facts that are right before their eyes. And it's amazing how many people would just rather not look.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess let me just leave you with this. We're coming up on the end of the hour, but listen, keep your eyes on the Middle East. Let's watch and see what happens. We know that Obama has been directly involved in the destabilization of the Middle East. Syria, Libya, Egypt. We seem to see a lot of evidence that the Saudis have been behind this. Now, this week we see that the Saudis are looking to purchase nuclear weapons out of Pakistan.
Yeah.
So the Middle East is a mess, folks.
Yeah.
The nations are aligning against Israel just like the Bible said they would. And it's happening right before our very eyes in real time, on your TVs, on the Internet, every single day.
Right. And I'll tell you when the Middle East went to the biggest mess, and it was all revived, when George Bush the first attacked Iraq.
Yes, absolutely.
Saddam Hussein. And then followed up, of course, followed up after that with 9/11, followed up after that by the Gulf War, George W. Bush, and TSA, and then, of course, Obama coming in behind him. I mean, folks, you can see the pattern.
Absolutely. And just remember, I made this comment on this show several times. Follow the money trail, the money, the money, the money. Well, what does the Bible tell us? The money is the what? The root. The love of money is the root of all evil. The money trail goes right to oil, right to the Saudis.
Right.
Every single dime of it.
Right. And then right back to the Bushes, right back to the Clintons, right back to the White House.
Direct ties to Saudi Arabia. Every single leader, past president and current president of this country.
That's right. We got to go. Brandon Big B Gallups, thank you. We'll hopefully see you next week. God bless you, man.
Thank you.
Okay, good deal. Folks, you've been listening to Freedom Friday. My guest this afternoon at this last segment was Brandon, we call him Big B Gallups, and you see why we have him on. Well, you can get all of this on podcast tomorrow afternoon. Just go to carlgallups.com, click the podcast link. It'll take you right to 1330 WEBY, our podcast page, and you can download segments of or this entire program. Go to carlgallups.com. Check out my books, my new book, The Rabbi That Found Messiah, and the movie that goes with it. You'll be blown away by what you see and what you read. carlgallups.com. In the meantime, God bless you, and God please bless America. We'll see you next Friday.